Hello, everybody. Well, obviously tonight it's bring your cat to work today because hang about. Here we go. Drew's brought his in, so there we go.
Bring your cat to live stream day.
Oh,
or cat inserts itself into your live stream.
Well, this wasn't planned because he's just come trotting in from the kitchen, from the garden through the kitchen, and has decided to. It's because I'm talking to somebody. He's like, "Oh, you're talking to somebody, right? Well, I need in on this."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Well, you're not invited. It doesn't matter. I'm in on this." So anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the Midweek Revue. Possibly the last Midweek Revue for this. Well, not the last Midweek Revue. Possibly the last live show we're doing for at least a week, because on Sunday I will be traveling back from Telford, and in case you missed the news, the interesting modelling company will be live at Telford.
Live at Telford,
yeah, not live at the Budokan. Saturday the 12th of November, Sunday the 13th of November. It will be me. Drew has decided to sit this one out this year. But he doesn't get away that lightly next year. But we will be on the hobby company stand. We're going to do a proper poster now that it's all confirmed, and we'll tell you what hall that is. But pretty much I'll be there pretty much all day on both days, apart from when I have to go to go to the lavatory, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And
refresh.
No, I'm taking my own refreshments with me, so I'm not paying international centre prices for a cup of tea. Thank you very much, and I'm certainly not queuing up either. So, got nothing against queuing. I don't fancy queuing up in this current climate we live in. So, anyway.
Well, yes, I mean that's unfortunately, my one dose of COVID came as a result of a model show. So.
Yes, so
yeah, no,
yeah.
So I mean, like I say, I mean, I'm sure I'll be back next year. It's just this year I don't feel in the right headspace for it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. My decision was very much kind of last minute, but I decided that I'm just going to go for it. I mean, we'll be doing some lives, doing some demonstrations. Rather, it's not going to be quite. The kind of like the show we had in 2019, simply because we're just having to kind of like find our feet with it again. But I'm sure we will. I'm sure it'll be fine. But we will be, we will have the workbench set up, and we will have the light. If I can set up a camera, I will. But if I can't,
yeah, I mean, I think it's very much a after sort of two missed ones. It's very much a finding your feet.
Exactly.
Escapade, shall we say?
Yeah.
So,
I look forward to going back next year and going up on the Friday and then turning up at Cosford, and the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get. I want to do it all in or not at all, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The whole sort of up the yours on Thursday, leave on Thursday, Friday travel up, and all that kind of stuff was as much a part of the weekend as the show. It's just felt, it's what we become used to. Don't like change.
Just doing some housekeeping here. Dave Swindle says only sound on the YouTube of views screen black. Okay, let's have a look. If anybody
other people are clearly using YouTube and commenting.
Right, but are they having problems with it?
Well, they haven't said anything, so
yeah.
I would
we've got Mike and Penn Richardson are watching on YouTube. Alan Richardson's watching on YouTube.
Stuart Templeton, Hobby Time, Plastic Monkey,
MF Doomer. So yeah, all I can say
Hobby
is,
Time saying it's fine on YouTube. So
yeah, I don't know what that is there. Anyway, Drew. I had a conversation this evening with a Mr. Krupovich, who you may know, Paul Krupovich.
I know a Mr. Krupovich.
All right, Krupovich. Then go on. Anyway, I have got to go to the kinetic stand at Telford.
Yes.
To present myself. To
present myself.
To present my credentials. Because they've got something behind the stand for us. Can you guess what it is?
Am I going to get an F-16 out of this?
You are going to get an F-16 out of this.
Right. What can I say? Oh, Frab just a.
Yes. So you are going to get an F-16 because no good giving it to me because much I'd admire it as a kit, but you've got more of an eye for the F-16. So,
guess what I'll be building this time next week, hopefully.
Well, there you go. So
or it's that or an F-35, isn't it? So
yeah. Well, I was going to say, incidentally, I'm going to have to pass up on meeting up on Friday at Jadlam. I've just got too much to do on Friday. I do apologise. So sorry about that. But we'll try.
I don't have a problem with it. It's Andy that I'm worried about.
Well, he'll be able to get. He's going down to. I think he's going passing yours to pick up stuff. So you're good. So
right, okay.
Yeah. At least I think so. Anyway, like I'm going to get text messages from Andy now, so I'm not going to Yeovil. So, but we'll sort something out one way or the other. But yeah, you've got an F-16. So, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I'll wrap it up for you in nice glitzy wrapping paper. Yeah, Dave Fleming says I thought Spencer brought refreshments. Yeah, I thought that as well, but I don't know if he's going to be there as well. So I'm going to be fending for myself this year. So big thank you, incidentally, to Powell Krupovich. There we go. Big thank you for that, Powell. That's very generous of Kinetic to give us a kit. So we will do it justice. I think it's the
that would be the plan. Certainly. I mean, it's been quite a long time coming, hasn't it, since they announced it? It's been unusually long for Kinetic. And you kind of hope that time has been put to good use, and it looks like it has. So hopefully in the next week or so I'll be able to get cracking on one of those and give the skinny on it in here and how I'm finding it. So
just going to do some housekeeping here. It's a mixed bag tonight. Some people are saying they can't watch it on Facebook, they're watching it on YouTube. Some people can't watch it on YouTube, they're watching it on Facebook. Nobody's watching it on Twitter, but anyway,
not even Elon.
Even Elon. Ewok Musk, I call him now, just to annoy him. So what else going on there, folks? But anyway, we've got we're going to try and keep this to a tight hour tonight, because I'm also just a little bit of kind of like fishing for sympathy here. I'm also in agony at the moment because I was out walking today and I tripped and I had a tumble and I've kind of like bruised myself all over. So I'm in exquisite agony tonight. So
and just to add to that, I've been off work for 2 days because I slipped getting out of the bath on Monday night and bruised my ribs and my hip. So
I can't hear the violins.
No, there are none. Get on with it.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Anyway, so what have you been working on this week, Drew?
Well, this is a 1-to-1 scale mod. No, not that, but
brilliant. That's a fantastic Tomcat.
Yes. After the bench was clear, remember the Dream model Super Cobra from a while back?
Yes.
I've started sort of playing with that and just doing some light assembly work.
This is a surefire way to get more hits on this show now because we've got Cats in the workshop with us.
Cats in view. So let's just zoom in a little bit. Sorry, Fred. You all right there, mate? So yeah, this is the little Dream Model 72nd scale Super Cobra that I'm building. Just a few sub-assemblies and the cockpit together. It's actually going together very nice. It's beautifully, the surface detail is lovely on it. I really like it. So yeah, that's been what I've been doing the last couple of days. And I sort of the rotor head there, I ended up I separated each rotor from the hub because it's a one-piece molding, and I pinned them back in with Albion alloys, brass tubing. I mean, the main thing was just because I wanted to be able to clean up all the seam lines easier, and separating the rotors from the hub made it easier. But also, hopefully, you can see that when I glued them back in place, I glued them at a bit of an incident to make it look like it's it's got a bit of a twist. And I also the only other thing I've done really is you can see there and there, I replaced the lead lag link rods with some Albion alloys, just because it was a bit too difficult to clean them up. So yeah, so apart from that lead lag link and the and changing it, that's about the only stuff I've done to the model really, just to give it a bit more of a candid look. Gordon J there, is that a cat? Might be.
It is a cat. It is a cat.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, that's a cat.
That is definitely a cat.
Yeah. For some reason, I was going to say, for some reason this evening, both of our feline masters have decided to join us in our respective workshops, completely unprovoked, unprompted. They've just decided we're in on the action tonight. So,
and you can see Fred's obviously sort of like a coiled spring here.
Yeah.
Just positively effervescing with barely suppressed energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and the other thing I've been working on, I've been digging out and playing with after a long hiatus, is I've really been getting to grips with the growler again, the kinetic growler. So, and doing things like glossing and washing bits of it, ready for decals and stuff. So yeah, that's all really starting to. And the spine here has had several go arounds as I've made a mess of some of the aerials and stuff. So that had to be all sanded back and cleaned up and drilled out and then repainted. But I think it's all blended in fairly nicely.
Very nice.
So, and same with some of the
It's a big old lump.
Yeah, I mean, the Super Hornet is one of those things where people kind of think of it in terms of a slightly oversized Hornet.
Legacy Hornet. Yeah.
Whereas in actual fact, it's nearer the size of like an F-15. Really, it's a big old lump.
I don't think people quite appreciate how petite the F-18 is.
Well, I mean, I think because it's sort of like it's that outgrowth from the YF-17. But yeah, they really did go to town when they made the Super Hornet in terms of scaling it up, and it is a significantly larger aeroplane. I mean, each engine's got about 5,000 pounds of extra thrust. Those big F414s, so it's got a lot of extra thrust. It's a bigger airframe. And I don't think in terms of the way they scaled it up, I don't like the single-seater Super Hornet. I don't think it looks right. It's too big for the canopy now, whereas the twin-seaters look okay to me. Christian Gerard saying, is the Growler really from Kinetic? Yes. No, sorry, no, it's Meng. God, so many companies now, isn't there? So many companies that you get all these kind of. I frequently get Meng and Kinetic mixed up. So the F-16 is from Kinetic. The Growler is from Meng. But yeah, I'm not. I've never been a. I always loved the Hornet from when I was a teenager and it first started entering service. I absolutely loved the Hornet. I've never really taken to the Super Hornet particularly. It's just a bit too big and bulky, and those stupid towed out pylons and stuff.
But I like the F18F growlers. I like the 2-seaters. I just
I mean the EA18G, the growler.
Yeah,
I actually like, because all the extra lumps and bumps and the wingtip pods and stuff. It actually makes sense. It brings everything into proportion. And if you've seen the new advanced jammer pods that are soon to be equipped for it, they are huge. So it brings everything back into proportion a little bit. But yeah, I mean, one of the other things that people don't often appreciate is, although the Super Hornet is bigger than the F-35, the F-35 is big as well. It's much bigger than an F-16. And people don't really, people think of it, because it's being sort of brought into service for a lot of nations as an F-16 replacement. People think of it as an F-16 sized aeroplane, and it isn't. It's really significantly bigger than an F-16, more sort of F-18 size, really. So, everything's, well, typically American, everything's getting bigger, isn't it?
I was just going to say, I'm still to this day, still flabbergasted how tiny the F-16 is. It's a tiny aeroplane.
I'll tell you another thing that is also surprising, how small an aeroplane it is the Tornado. The Tornado is only about the size of an F-16. People look at it with 2 seats and this ground attack aeroplane and think it's a big aeroplane. It's not. It's not much bigger than an F-16.
Yes, I noticed that when we were at Cosford back in the last time, which was 2019, and they've got that nice, beautiful dark green, dark sea grey one in one of the hangars and whatever, and
proper Tornado.
Proper Tornado. But I think the thing that makes the Tornado appear bigger is the thing that gives it its nickname, which is the fin.
Yeah.
It's a big old fin. But beyond that, actually, it's not. Its footprint is actually quite small.
Yeah. It was a surprisingly compact aeroplane. It's quite often surprising when you have to get up close to some aircraft to fully appreciate their scale. It's like I've never failed to be blown away by just how immense the F-111 is. A truly huge aeroplane, and the FB-111 had a takeoff weight of about 120,000 pounds maximum takeoff weight. It was a big aeroplane. The tactical ones, the F-111 sort of A through F, they would still be 85,000 pound maximum takeoff weight, big aeroplanes.
John Patrick Huston says small. All we had was the Fugger Magister. I'm not saying the Fugger Magister is small, but it's one of those aircraft that if you're not looking where you're going, you'll trip over it. It's
one of those. It's one of the only jets, I think, that you don't need any kind of ladder or anything to get into. The pilot literally steps over the side.
I love the Magister. I love the Magister. Andrew Hills, Mr. Hills from Antic says new kinetic MLU. New kinetic MLU is being released at Telford by the UK office of Lucky Model. And Drew is going to be one of those lucky modelers who's going to get hold of a copy of it. See, smooth transition.
Scoring an F-16.
I know. He's not even there, and yet his Shilfu skills are already at work.
Already kicking in.
Shilfu master. That's what you are. Anyway, I haven't got anything to report on projects here. I finished the Jeep. I'm not starting anything now. I might do a little bit more work on the old George Washington figure, but beyond that, tonight I'm just, trying to get over this my flying lesson today, and I'm just trying to get my brain into like a Telford space now. So
Yeah.
Christian Gerard, very good point from Christian Gerard there. He says the Gnat was the smallest jet I have seen until today. It's tiny.
Yeah,
But it's
especially the
lovely.
single seaters. That one at Cosford, we always stop and look at that one at Cosford, don't we? And go, it's even tinier than a normal Gnat.
Yeah, we love the Gnat though. It was all Gordon J. Oh, that's a shame there. Gordon J says I was all booked up for Telford, but tonight I cancelled. I hope it's not because you found out I was going. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Gordon. I hope everything's all right. So we'll keep your fingers crossed. It's nothing it's nothing substantial that's keeping you from Telford. And
See
also
that little message from Andrew Hills there. Look, see, little...
P.S. I was back from the warehouse in time to go to the post office for you. Well, who's the you? Me or you?
Me.
Yeah, of course it is. Unbelievable.
There might be things of an Aerocobra-y nature.
Oh,
en route.
Shush. Steve Moore says I see the TACOM AH-64 is down as released in December. War of the AH-64s.
Well, I think it would appear that TACOM is going to be first there. They were first to announce, and they're going to be first there. And I see they've announced another boxing today already of the AH-64E. With World Apaches, and I looked at the color schemes, and I immediately thought, oh, there's some interesting sort of what if color schemes, and then go to research on Google and go, oh, the Qatari ones are that camouflage, and then went, oh, the Indonesian ones are that camouflage.
Right. I've been out today, so I'm just going to go to Facebook TACOM, and I'm going to look that up, and then we'll bring it live into the show. So this is what keeping it kind of like fluid does. He said, trying to convince himself. Here we go. TACOM. Oh, blimey! I see what you mean. Oh, God, blimey! Yeah, those are a bit tasty.
Yeah, I mean the Korean and the Saudi ones are just Hilo drab, but I particularly thought the Indonesian one. I thought, oh, that's a what if scheme, isn't it? And then went and looked on the interwebs and went, oh no, it's not a what if scheme. It's a particularly attractive. It's a particularly attractive camouflage, I think.
Yeah, I've just pulled that down onto the desktop here so that I can just crop that one out a bit so we can see it a bit better. Because TACOM have not given us a kind of like a close-up of it. So here we go. Right, okay. Let's share a screen. Dun, 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 dun. How exciting. It's like Christmas Day, this. Hope it's not socks. Present. Here we go. Share screen. Oh, come on. Here we go. Right. There we go. We can all see that, can't we?
Yes.
Yes, right. There will be a test later, so pay attention. Do pay attention, 007. That's better. There we go. So we've got Korean Army, which is just kind of overall olive drab, isn't it?
Yeah, Hilo drab.
Then we've got Indonesian, which that's rather tasty. That is.
That's a really attractive scheme, isn't it? It looks like it's maybe 34102, like Vietnam green and Hilo drab. But it's a really and looking at pictures of it, it's very, very slightly soft edged as well, which makes it look particularly attractive. And then there's
we found a better image of that now. There we go. Bear with. Yeah, they've also, because you put up a picture of one of them, and it does look. Because that's what made me think. Oh, where's this come from? And it is a completely different completely different schemes. Not all olive drab.
It's interesting to see that Apaches are starting to appear. I mean, obviously the Israelis were the first with the Piton and the Seraph. And the US Army flew some light grey ones a few years ago, but now you've got the Indian Air Force Apaches in overall light grey. You've got the Qatari ones in that two browns camouflage. You've got the Indonesian ones. You've got the Japanese ones in it's Apaches are starting to appear in a variety of schemes. But that Indonesian one certainly would. has my attention, shall we say. It's gone from do I want one or not to I'd actually quite like one of these. So
goodness me, where are we going to find the time?
Well, we're not, are we? I mean,
No,
this is all, we however much we talk about it, I mean, I can see my dance card from now until Christmas would appear to be full of F-16s and F-35s.
Yeah, and that's your dance card until Christmas next year, not this year, next year. So it's a busy old time. Still, it's a dying hobby, and and nobody's producing any interesting kit.
Yeah,
blah 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 blah. The usual.
Sadly, we're in the final death throes of the hobby. Which is why as manufacturers release more and more kits, the hobby is in its final deth throes. Which is why in the last 3 months we've had 4 boxings of a 1/35th scale Apache from 2 companies in 2 different variants. It's the dying days. It's the waning days of a hobby.
It's the fall of Rome. That's what it is. It's shocking, positively shocking.
But at least they've all got the folded rotor option with them, so you can.
Right,
it's a helicopter, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be it'll be quite long, but it's only going to be 3 or 4 inches wide when it's finished if you do the folded rotors. So,
well, you know me, I do think that these aircraft, Navy aircraft, look so much better with the wings folded, which is how they were intended to be modelled.
No, they don't. But I mean, I know what you're saying.
Well, you're wrong anyway. I don't want to kind of like don't want to point that out, but yeah, you're definitely wrong. Let's have oh God, blimey, this is a mammoth audience tonight. So let's say hello to Paul Milligan, Andy Brannan, we've got Nick Brown, Dan Wood, Jerry Doyle, James Ray, Dave Coward, Russell Taylor. Actually, you just reminded me. Hang about. I keep forgetting we've got this. Bear with me. Here we go. There we go. That's better. Right. So we will do the. Here we go. Dave Cab, Russell Taylor, Stephen Pryor, Gordon Sorensen, Dave Swindle, Lee Suter, MF Doomer TV, Mike Williams, Greg Woodbridge, Alan Cooper, Simon Lewis, Ian Goldstraw, Mike and Pen Richardson, Alan Richardson, Pavel Kripovich, bringer of F-16s, Dave Fleming, bringer, Plastic Monkey, Stuart Templeton, Hobby Time, let's scroll down, Steve Moores, scrolls down, Stuart Clark, Robert Pearlman, John Pop, Davros Halfbeard, there we go, John Patrick Piston, scrolls down, Mr. Christian Gerard, scrolls down, Douglas Hunter, probably going to do some repeats here, Gordon J, Marcus Stone, hello Marcus, Tim Maunder, Jared Watkinson, literally lives over the hill from me, as opposed to me, I'm just over the hill. And who else? Mr. Andrew Hills, Mr. Mark Ryan, Mr. Jerry Doyle. Oh, goodness me. It's Sean Walsh. Hello, Sean. Theron Hampton. Dominic Koku. Rob Monfee, Robert Johnson, John Alex, Scale Modelling, Tony Surridge, Paul K. Goodness me, that is quite an epic number of people. But to be honest with you, I'm fed up with that music now, so we won't do that.
So am I.
Again.
Jesus.
I know. It just goes. Well, you can have this one.
No, just don't. Just leave it.
Okay.
Leave it.
So, yes. So yeah, Telford. I will be seeing some of you at Telford and picking up F-16s and things. So that's very exciting. Right now, I've decided that tonight we'll have this as a bit of a treat. That reminds me, the other week I got a peanut stuck in my ear. Poured some chocolate in, came out a treat.
Oh.
Anyway,
I mean that joke would have been fine 30 years ago, but now nobody knows what you're talking about.
It still makes me laugh. Anyway, Here we go.
People are approving of Fred. There you go.
People are approving of Fred. Right. Derp, they don't like you. Anyway, look, I thought tonight I will take you through this copy of Scale Models magazine from February 1975. A reminder of when Scale Models used to be just an absolute top dollar magazine. Sadly, it's no longer with us, but it's just... Anyway, this one stuck in the mind for me because it featured a well, let's just stop to look at the adverts here. Oh, here we go. Humbrol airbrushes. Well, they're Badger airbrushes, but oh goodness me. This episode / edition / whatever, it featured just all look at the adverts here for a second. It was an article on the new F-15 kits that were from Hasegawa, Monogram, and Revell. And it's an absolutely brilliant article because, as you can see, they built examples of all three and commented on what were the strong points of each and what were the weak points, and some scale plans as well. And these tend to be very good scale plans as well.
Who are they by, I wonder?
I think it might be Pat Lloyd. Bear with me a second. Because Pat Lloyd...
They do look very, very nicely done. They look very... Yeah,
I can't see anything here, but I would hazard a guess that the scale drawings are by Pat Lloyd. And then what you get on this page is more of a write-up on the kits, and they do give you... This is brilliant. I mean, goodness me, why this was never really aped by any other kind of like magazine or whatever. They then give you this nice little tabulated table which tells you, the strong points of all three, so or the weak points. So the cockpit, Hasegawa, pilot, obscures detail, whereas Monogram, well detailed pilot. Revell, no pilot, sparse. And they got armament, 4 sparrows, 4 sparrows, 4 sidewinders, 4 sparrows, 4 candles. Got any O's? Special features, fuel tank. Monogram, stand by for this. Ground clue and ladder, radar in nose, diorama guides, ailerons, intake covers, flaps. And I've got that kit and it's brilliant. Revell, speed brake, fuel tank, 1 removable engine, moving parts, none. Monogram, hinged canopy. Revell, rotating wheels, hinged canopy, undercarriage, detailed wheel well. Monogram, highly detailed and complete. Revell, simplified. Decals, 2 options. Blah. Monogram, US Air Force Command motif. Revell, 1 set. And then finally, assembly, separate wing halves. Monogram, how about this? One piece wing plan form. Wow. And then Revell, one piece wing upper plan form, 2 lower panels. Just to reiterate, the Monogram kit, it is one piece. It's staggering. And then panel lines, Hasegawa, fine raised panel lines. I've got that kit. It's lovely. Monogram, fairly heavy raised panel lines, and Revell, finely raised, heavy engraved lines. Price 75p, £1.75 and 93.5.
It's really interesting that the Hasegawa is the cheapest one.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that 93.5 pence.
93.5 pence. The good old days of the halfpence. But that is, honest to goodness, that is a stellar kind of article, kind of review, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I can remember my earliest memory of an Eagle kit really is seeing the Revell kit in Woolworths,
right?
And sort of coveting it for several years because it was something like £2 at that point. This is 78, 79. And, you know, for somebody who was earning or getting 50, 60 pence a week pocket money, it was, you know, well, it might as well have been made of solid gold.
Yep.
You know, it just wasn't, you know, I can remember the very first time I saw the Monogram A10, and it was £2.35, which was, you know, similarly, you know, just out of reach.
I think people tend to forget that back in the 70s and the early 80s, monogram kits in the UK were hideously expensive.
Yeah.
They really were.
Yeah.
But just looking at this picture here of the monogram one here, and it's just, goodness me, look at that. You know, separate radome. You've got FOD guards for the intakes. It's just that, and I've got this kit, and it is brilliant, and it still remains brilliant. And anyway, let's just have a quick flick through. We've got the reviews here. We've got some books there, obviously, because it's a book review. We've got tanks and transport vehicles, World War II, military aircraft in the First World War, published by McDonald and James. Observer's Army Vehicle Directory, which I've actually got a copy of that. The 3 Observer's book there, the Observer's Book of Commercial Vehicles, and the Observer's Basic Civil Aircraft Directory. Then we have a rather nice article here on the Rumpler C4. Drawings by Ian Stair, text and model by Ray Rimmel. Rimmel? What do you think?
I've always said Rimmel, but
Rimmel.
Ray, but he Mr. Biplane.
Yeah, Mr. Biplane. If I see him at Telford, I'll ask him. This is another masterclass in scratch building in the Harry Woodman style. I mean, you know, Ray scratch built biplanes, you know, probably came out of the womb scratch building them, and the proof is in the pudding. His models just look absolutely fabulous. The drawings here, as I say, the drawings here by, let me just find who they were by again, Ian Stair, are absolutely stunning. They're beautiful.
It's just, what blows me away is what a phenomenally complete package it is.
Yes.
You know, it kind of throws into sharp relief that, you know, a good proportion of today's magazines are just reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got a die-cast scene here with Reg Miles, which is, you know, I don't think I've ever read any of these articles. It's not to knock Reg. It's die-cast. Doesn't interest me, but it did interest a lot of readers at Scale Models at the time. And then we have marine modelling with Bob Sweet, HMS Sheffield. I do believe this was the HMS Sheffield that was lost in the Falklands War, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Type 42 destroyer. Yeah. So so there's an article there on HMS Sheffield. Then we have die-cast scene, but this is die-cast kits as opposed to just die-cast kind of like models and things, which is always very good. That's quite interesting, actually. The auto replicas, 23 Bailey Crescents, Poole, Dorset. Yet again, the Southwest was the epicenter of modelling.
Who was it who used to do the die-cast aircraft kits? C.A. Tommy Atkins, was it?
Yes, that's him.
And I remember him doing so. He did some racers and stuff, didn't he?
Yes. Very nice.
Again, it was just always looked like something a bit too exotic.
Yeah, but that's what I liked about it. It was kind of like, it doesn't necessarily interest me, but I do like reading the article, and you know, there's things you pick up, and like I say, this this review here mentions the fact that the moldings by auto replicas are incredibly professionally done, and I think it's fair to say that sometimes you can see white metal kits and they're absolutely dreadful. This isn't.
Oh yeah.
This is absolutely beautiful. I'm thinking of that Muirfield tipper truck that I had to build for my late friend Mr. Hamer. Yeah, that was not fun. Then we have Autofar. So this was the Formula One kind of section of the magazine, described by John Wood, illustrated by Roger Taylor. Goodness me, if he wasn't drumming in Duran Duran and Queen,
man of many talents.
He's a man of many talents. Yeah, good old Rog. And There we are. Scale mail. Always good to kind of read that and suddenly spot names that you know. And we've got a little thing here on IPMS random thoughts. So some rather timely thing there on an Anson. United States Air Force Thunderbirds F4. Rather nice set of drawings there for a Canadian F104. And some drawings for
Dawn 17.
Dawn 17. I always got to say, this is going to sound sacrilege, but having got some vintage magazines, IPMS magazines from the 70s, I always thought that the overseas ones tended to have the better drawings, unless it was Dick Ward or A.M. Alderton doing the drawings. They tended to be very much a kind of protractor and homemade shading kind of thing. But these are beautiful. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying it was a noticeable difference in quality between the different illustrators and whatever. Museum visit to Milan, very nice. And then we've got Richard Marmo offers a conversion by paint project suitable for many kits, and this is just doing the presentation. Yippee P38 Lightning. So that's it's a good read. Again, the thing that I like about these magazines at the time, Drew, is that the writing is peerless. It's really fabulous writing. Anyway, and then we have we've got a visit to Humbrol.
John,
as was. Sorry,
John. Which kit was that? Lightning.
Oh, monogram.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm just checking. The model in our photograph shows the markings applied to the monograms 148 P38, but the same techniques with appropriate changes in dimensions can be applied to Frog's 72nd scale kit or Ravel's 132nd scale Lightning. Do you know, that just suddenly made me realise that back then, this is a P38. Is it an F? It is, isn't it? It's the
it's a J.
J rather. Those were probably the only kits out there at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although it says, hang about. Richard Marmo's model is from the monogram kit to 48 scale, though any P38 Lightning kit of the right type, J, can be used. Airfix, Frog, Hasegawa, or AMT kits. There we go. So, yeah, there were other ones out there. It was Airfix did the F late in the 70s, didn't they?
Yes, 76 or 77.
Yeah. And then we've got, sadly, the building is no longer being used for this purpose, but this was the old Humbrol factory at Marfleet, and I was lucky enough to visit it a number of times in the 80s and the 90s and the early noughties, when it was an absolutely thriving industrial hub, I think is the best way of putting it. Fabulous times that was. But hey ho, the march of progress. Then we have, look at this. We've got reviews. New to you, new Matchbox items revealed. How many of those did you build, Drew?
I'm looking, certainly is that a 10 piston Thunderbolt?
Yep.
Yes. What are the tanks there? There's a Beast.
The Humber armored car, the Puma, and the Vesp.
I think at various points I've built all of them.
Right. Okay. Show off.
Possibly not the Vesp.
Yeah.
So I'm fairly certain I built the Puma and the Humber.
Yeah, I built all of them, but I didn't build the Vespi or the Vesp or whatever, or the Wasp. I've never built any of Matchbox's 32nd scale cars.
No, I haven't. No.
And I think that is something that I need to
remedy.
Remedy. That's the word I'm looking for. I was looking for a remedy, and there it is. A review there of the then new Airfix Shooting Star, which is absolutely still a very great, pretty kit. And and it's recently been reissued in the Vintage Classics line. So
clean kit, very clean, very
I'm
well
going to have to break off for a minute, Drew, because you fill in for a moment because I've got a cat altercation going on outside. So I'll be back in a moment.
I don't have a cat altercation going on because this is. You can see how much he's into external altercations. He's quite happy there. But yeah, I kind of think that bear with me. I just kind of think in many ways a lot of today's magazines that they just read like catalogues of kit reviews, slightly longer form kit reviews, but you don't tend to get as much of the project stuff going on, projects and conversions and things like that. What you can see from that copy of scale models there from 47 years ago, something like that, is just how much variety there were packed into relatively few pages. It has to be said. I mean, all those articles are like 3 pages long maximum, 3 or 4 pages long at the max, and it's just absolutely packed full of information and modeling.
And the writing,
yeah, and the writing was just, I mean, when you think of, Joe Saki and people like that, and all these people, Ray Rimmel, Jeff Prentice, all of these people, the writing was core to what they did.
I'll give you a good example here. This is David Jane. I know David. He's a lovely chap and a very good modeler. He's very, very, very good modeler. And I'm just going to read you this here. And it's Airfix Shooting Star. I mean, look at this. Look, that's the total of the review, right? And he just says, Airfix's new model of the Shooting Star fills a surprisingly long-standing gap in 1/72 scale range of kit and should be very popular. All the parts generally fit well, except the air intakes, parts 14 and 15, which require attention with filler and file to achieve the necessary smooth contours. Cockpit detail is comprehensive and accurate and, like the new camera kit, hopefully sets the standard for all future Airfix releases. But the canopy on the review model was marred by flow lines which should be absent on production kits. The detail on the undercarriage is very good, including transport landing lights on the nose wheel leg and wiring and piping inside the wheel wells. The nose wheel leg is retractable by pivoting on lugs in the fuselage halves, a gimmick which might amuse the younger modeler. The undercarriage doors, however, are grossly overthick, and the enthusiasts will no doubt want to replace these with plasticard. The tailpipe plug, part 11, is an excellent idea, although a very tight fit. 2 types of wingtip tanks are provided, along with 2 bombs, and the excellent decal sheet provided markings for 2 Korean War aircraft, FT-873 of the 37th Fighter Bomber Squadron 1951, and FT-650 Sagin Dragon of the 16th Fighter Interception Squadron 1950. Overall, this is a good, accurate model which adequately captures the character of the original, with plenty of scope for alternative paint schemes and markings. In the Series 2 range, the P80 costs 30p. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Isn't that?
You have to laugh at sort of British understatement, which adequately captures the character.
But that is so beautifully concise, right?
How good is it? Well, it's adequate.
I can guarantee that because the kit has come back under the Vintage Classic range, you'll pick up a magazine, there'll be a review of this. In the same amount of space that David has written this here, we still wouldn't have actually left behind the historical preamble. It would still be going on and on and on and on and on. So beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Got some model decal sheets here. Hurrah! What were new for model decal? Set 25, which covers markings for the Lightning F2A, Canberra B18 or BI8 rather, Hunter FGA9, and the Harvard T2B. And set 26 has markings for the Hunter FGA9, Buccaneer S2B, Canberra B2, and the Gazelle HT2 or 3. blah, 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 blah. I've actually got both those sheets and they're still brilliant. And what have we got here?
That horse Hysterex.
No, it's that horse is it's I'm trying to work out what it is. It was to do with a harness kit for a cart. So cart plans,
right.
but the picture is of a horse, but it's 1/12 scale or something. So anyway, then we have, goodness me, look at this, folks.
Williams Brothers. Lordy.
Well, wait, hang about. Let's get the greatest kit manufacturer out of the way first, which is Matchbox
188 and Tempest.
Yeah, the Matchbox Junkers 188 and the Hawker Tempest. And what is going on there? Oh, that's all right. It's just my cat throwing up in the office again, as normal. Obviously, apologies if anybody's looking at this webcast. Is that we've got some unfortunate markings on the Junkers at 188, but we've got. What I like about this is back in the day when again they would build they would build two examples of the same kit. That one was built by or both built by Mac Kenner, but just utterly brilliant. Mac would often build models in schemes that weren't actually included in the kit, and there were no aftermarket, so he just winged it.
And I think I'm right in saying he was a Tempest pilot as well.
He was a Tempest pilot indeed. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm not going to read this out, but that is a beautifully concise review. That's all you need to say. And like I say, this is where I got my kind of grounding in model journalism from these people who were journalists. That was the point. They were journalists.
If anybody didn't know, Mac Kenner is the guy who set IPMS up.
Yeah, one of the key.
He is the man who.
I say him, Alan Hall, Dick Ward were the cornerstones of IPMS UK. Without whom we wouldn't be having Scale Model World. So, yeah, we've got this is Williams Brothers, Martin B10.
Go full screen on that, John. Somebody's asking you if you can go full screen.
Yep, hang about. Let's go full screen. There we go. So, Williams Brothers, Martin B10. Let's zoom in on that a bit more. There we go. So, just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's
that was exotic stuff, mind.
Wasn't it just
Williams Brothers kits? Oh,
never built one.
That was they were. I think I largely built a C46 once upon a time,
Okay.
a challenge. And if anybody wants to do a C46 in 72nd, please feel free.
Okay. We've got some more stuff here. We've got Italeri or Italieri.
Yeah, Italieri.
Yeah. I'm so glad they cut down on the vowels. And this was the Cant Z501 Gabbiano, which is a beautiful looking thing. And again, goodness me, they built two for the magazine. They built two for the review section. Unbelievable, you know. Airfix Mustang down there, and then new from Airfix. Good to see the home team getting a good shout here. The Anne Boleyn figure and the German reconnaissance set, which I must have built, blimey, quite a few times. And also the Suzuki T400J Cyclone, so motorbike. But yeah, there's a bit of Airfix there. What have we got there? Hasegawa. A submarine, although it appears to be like a toy, but anyway. And then for truckers, Ertl, 125th scale Paystar 5000 dump truck. So that looks exciting stuff. And then IPMS Championships 1974. Goodness me. Very delighted to see that apparently one of the recipients of a prize appeared to be Dave Hill from Slade. So well done, Dave Hill from Slade. I bet he felt the noise. No, apparently that's Steve Newton. Steve Newton, if you're watching, apologies, but you do look like Dave Hilton Slade. And then look at this. Look, we've got a Wessex, a Flettner F262, nice big Harrier, T33, Walrus, fabulous, absolutely fabulous. That is, oh God, I mean, to have gone to the IPMS Nationals in 1974 when they were still only kind of like, well, just over 10 years old or something. Just brilliant. And then we've got the shop guide. Just having a look. Says any around near me? Not really. Bridgewater. That's about it. I bet there's one here for Yeovil. No, there isn't. There's a surprise. No, a lot of London ones. I wonder how many of these are still going.
Very few, I would imagine. Very few, if any.
Yeah. Then just an advert for Tamiya motorbikes, which again, this is probably where I got my kind of desire to build a Tamiya motorbike, because they just boxes looked amazing. And then on the back, Tamiya F1. Again, these are the big 1/12 scale kits. Oh God, this as a kid, these were the things of dreams. But A, I couldn't afford them, and B, I didn't have the finishing skills, frankly. But there we go. That was, and still will be, Scale Models, February 1975. But as I said, this is such a seminal magazine for me, or this edition was, simply because of that F15 article. That really was absolutely top class model journalism. Yeah, that's from a whole different era, but fabulous stuff, really is. What can I say?
But again, even that F15 article, what, 4 pages?
Yeah, not much.
4 pages?
No, not much. Craig Sargent says, don't mention Big Harriers and the Nats. Oh, it's okay. He's not here. Yeah, that's a bit
too soon, Craig. Too soon.
Too soon, Craig. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that, Dan. We'll remember to do that next time. Go full screen. We'll probably do another one of these. Do a oldie magazine kind of.
I mean, I think you could pick some of the scale aircraft modelings from the sort of very early 80s, even the late 70s, and do a very similar thing. Where it's just they were full of articles and things. It didn't feel like it was just a collection of reviews.
Right. Well, there is your homework there for when you want to do the next live show. Dig out one of your Sams, and we'll do a kind of like a retrospective on it. I think that's doable.
It is doable. We might have to rely on you for the magazine. I don't think I've got any.
Oh, for crying out loud! Goodness. All right. Well, tell me what issue you want to do, and I'll dig it out from the pile. And
I mean, the one that springs to mind is the one on the Sea Harrier, September 1981, I think.
I think I've got that one.
Well, they did the model decal conversion set.
Perhaps I haven't got that one.
Well, it was actually Sea Harriers as well. It had the free decal sheet in it, but they also built the upcoming model decal conversion set, injection molded conversion set.
I think I've got that one. I think it's just around. I will get up and go and get it just to prove.
No, I'm pretty sure you'll have it.
I've got it. Sea Harris, for goodness sake. Yeah, what a great. But that is, I mean, there's other issues of scale models that I could equally pick out and just bang on about how great they are. But goodness me, that really was. I think when you look back at the British model magazines at the time, you had scale models, you had Airfix magazine. Airfix magazine was a little bit more general, in terms of its audience, whereas scale models definitely did go for more of the enthusiast end of things, but just fabulous, really. And yeah, we'll do an Airfix magazine at some stage, because that's going to have classic names in it as well, like Chris Ellis and Alan Hall and blimey,
Ken Duffy.
Ken Duffy, yeah. Oh, what a great magazine.
I remember Ken Duffy's article where he converted the Airfix CH53 into a CH53E. And oh Lord, I must have read that article, dozens of times, because it was just like next level modeling, that a 14-year-old could but aspire to.
Well, the funny thing is that in one of the Airfix magazines I've got here, there was an article by a 16-year-old young lad called Timothy Perry.
Oh yes,
was
it a Phantom?
Scratch built a TSR2, would you believe?
And his Phantom conversion, yes.
And his Phantom conversion, yeah, absolutely ridiculous levels of talent. But anyway,
well, he hasn't built a model since, but
no, of course he hasn't. No, but that's not the point.
Sorry, Tim. Sorry, couldn't resist.
No, it's a fair comment. Dave Fleming says, "Do number 1 with the Tomcat."
That one. I mean, there's also the one with the where they did the early A10s, which is a personal favourite of mine. They had the conversion, Harrier GR3 conversion in that one as well.
I've got that one. Well, we've got
fabulous.
We've got plenty of food for thought here to do.
Dave Fleming, Ken Duffy converting a Hasegawa Tiger to a Supermarine Swift. He turned it upside down, didn't he? He turned the fuselage upside down.
It worked, though.
Oh dear,
it worked.
Oh, I haven't seen Ken for a long time, but that was a man not afraid of plastic card and filler.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Carlos H. Almeida says, "Didn't know Slade's Dave Hill was a modeler. So cool." Yeah, it wasn't, but it did look like him though. Absolutely. In fact, there is one copy of Sam, which was a report of the IPMS from about 1986, and there's a guy in the background, and it is my maternal grandfather. It wasn't, but it is him. And I showed the picture to my mum, and she went, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Yeah, it's him, isn't it?" It wasn't, but just the hands behind the back, the look, the hair, everything. And I was like, "Goodness me, that's my grandfather." How strange.
There you go.
That's starting to veer into Sunday Night Ghost Stories extra territory. But who am I to shamelessly promote my other show? But I'm going to shamelessly promote my other show. So anyway, brilliant. Like I say, what a great era for model magazines, I think.
Oh yeah, the 70s and 80s were just it's never been better, has it? Never been better.
We've got better produced magazines these days, and we've got the modelling is of an incredible quality now. I just think that sometimes the writing just doesn't quite match it. It's probably a bit unfair, but there we go.
I think it's a different demographic now, isn't it? We have such an embarrassment of riches. It's not often that you need to do a conversion as such anymore, is it? Something is about. Nick Emery there, which is very close to Dick Emery, who was president of the Airfix Modelers Club. Ray Rimmel and Neil Robinson series on the Battle of Britain in scale models, and that was the one where they actually sold that as a special as well, didn't they? Where they bought all those articles together and did a Battle of Britain special, which is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic one. There was also one in the 70s on spaceships.
Right. Okay. Right. We'll do the famous Spaceships of Fact and Fiction, which was actually produced by Kalmbach, who were the people who went on to publish Fine Scale Modeler. Yeah, that I've still got a copy of that. I picked up a copy of it at one of the last Yeovilton model shows.
But I can remember seeing that in the 1970s at school in the playground. Somebody bought it in, and it was just
78.
And it had the Revell 747 with shuttle in it, didn't it? And stuff.
Beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. The Dick Emery president, Dan Wood, says yes. Dick Emery was a very, very enthusiastic plastic modeler and was president of the Airfix Modelers Club from I think about 1978 till his passing in 1983. Which tells you that I did a bit of research on Dick Emery about 2 days ago for various reasons. I I don't know why. I saw a photograph and it looked like Dick Emery, and I went, "Oh, it looks like Dick Emery," and then went off on a, Google Foo and Wikipedia sort of. But yeah, he had a sort of page in Airfix magazine every month, didn't he? And he did. And he wrote reviews for Airfix magazine as well.
He did.
So yes.
Hang about. I'm just calling up a window here. Let's just see if I can find the window. Bear with. Here we go. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. This was an advert from Airfix magazine back in the but there he is. Club president Dick Emery says it's useful sharing modeling hints and tips, pals. So send them in and I'll do my best to print them. I print photos of members with models too. You are awful, but I like you. No, that's Kenneth Williams.
You are awful.
He didn't like anything. He didn't even like himself in the end. But yeah, that's Dick Emery. God, very funny guy, really. And yep, look at that. Look, the MRCA Panavia Tornado, and I've got 4 copies of that kit from the 1970s, and each copy of it is slightly different. The box and the packaging is all slightly different. But anyway, there we go. Dick Emery.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. In fact, just going to say, there we go. I was just going to say, any other business. Well, do any other business, because I'm going to have to scoot in a second to prep for my next show and also start prepping for Telford. So,
yes, no further business from me then. I'll let you be on your way.
You reckon? Because I think you'll still be here at 9 o'clock, banging on about something. That's fair enough.
Really?
No. I've made me forget what I'm doing now. Oh yes, no. I was going to say. Did you know? I'll try not to do that in the voice. Did you know Frankie Howard is buried just outside of Cheddar?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
Yes. And in fact, I must have driven past the church where he's buried dozens of times. So one of the things I've promised myself is next time I'm in Axbridge, frequenting the very good Arms House tea room there, which you've not been to, have you? No. Spencer has. It's very good. I think I'll have a trip out and
that is one of those pieces of information where my knowledge depended on how the question was phrased. Like if you'd said, "Do you know where Frankie Howard is buried?" I would have gone, "No." The fact that you said, "Did you know he's buried just outside Cheddar?" and I went, "Yeah, I did, yeah." That's a piece of information that I can recall. Yeah.
I've never seen. Like I said, I've never been to the churchyard, but no, I'd like to go and see that because God, Frankie Howard was one of my kind of like childhood kind of heroes. But also, if you go back and watch his stuff now, he was incredibly ahead of the curve. He really was as a stand-up because he didn't tell jokes. He improvised and interacted with the audience, and it's like that's massively ahead of its time. Anyway,
moving on.
Yeah, moving
on. Go and do your.
Oh, I'm going to do it in a minute. Downward said, "That's brilliant. I remember him as being a bit too dirty for young children, as I was at the time." It was pre-Watershed, Dan. It was all good, wholesome fun on the BBC.
I think it was Entendre City, wasn't it? Rather than
it was but it was very but it's all good, harmless fun. I say
double entendres flowed.
Single entendres, actually. Right. Well, that's it really for tonight. Like I say, we will hopefully we'll try and send you some photo reports when we're in Telford. I say me. And we'll try and do a live. Can't promise. And then we will reconvene. Well, Drew's on lates next week, but we'll probably reconvene the live show on Wednesday next week in one form or another. So I'm kind of looking forward to going, and also a little bit trepidatious about going. But hey ho, what's new, Drew? What's new?
Yeah, you always go through this every year, and then it's fine.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, look, folks, from myself, from Derp, wherever he's gone. Oh, he's there. From Drew and from Fred. A big thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Goodness me, we had a bumper audience tonight. Oh, look at his cute little face. Look at his cute little hairy face. And there's also Fred as well. There we go. Anyway, on that note, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, 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 very soon. So bye.
Take care, all.